Diversity and Inclusion Committee. It was a Tuesday morning when Professor Dumbledore made the announcement that would doom every student at Hogwarts to hours of their lives they'd never get back. As part of our ongoing commitment to creating a more inclusive magical learning environment, Dumbledore said during breakfast, reading nervously from a piece of parchment that looked like it had been written by a committee of lawyers, "I am pleased to announce the formation of the Hogwarts Diversity and Inclusion Student Committee, or as we'll call it, HDISC. That sounds like a skin condition," Draco muttered from the Slytherin table. The committee will be comprised of representatives from each house, as well as students from various, identity backgrounds, Dumbledore continued, clearly uncomfortable with his own words. Our first meeting will be this Thursday at 7 p.m. in classroom 3B. Harry looked at Hermione, who was already scribbling notes and looked like Christmas had come early. Finally, she whispered excitedly. A chance to implement real systemic change at Hogwarts. Hermione, Harry said carefully, you know it's just going to be a bunch of students sitting around complaining, right? That's called advocacy, Harry. And someone needs to address the problematic power structures in this school. 2 days later, Harry found themselves reluctantly trudging toward classroom 3B, having been voluntold by McGonagall to represent transgender students on the committee. They tried to argue that being the only openly trans student didn't automatically make them a spokesperson for all trans people everywhere, but McGonagall had given them the look that meant resistance was futile. The classroom was already packed when they arrived. Hermione sat at the front with a stack of books titled things like Decolonizing Magical Education and Intersectionality in Wizarding Spaces. Rahmed was there representing religious minorities, though Harry suspected he'd volunteered himself. Luna Lovegood sat in the corner, presumably representing whatever Luna represented. Draco Malfoy was there too, slumped in a chair with his arms crossed, clearly having been forced to attend as the privileged student perspective or something equally ridiculous. Right then, said Dumbledore, entering the room and looking like he'd rather be having his beard professionally detangled. Welcome to our first HDISC meeting. I think we should start by either going around the room and sharing our pronouns. Oh, for fuck's sake, came a voice from the back of the room. Everyone turned to see Professor Snape leaning against the doorframe. You're really about to spend 2 hours talking about pronouns when half these kids can't even brew a basic healing potion. Professor Snape, Dumbledore said nervously, we discussed this. Faculty supervision is required for student committees. Nah, what we discussed is you dumping this diversity bullshit on me because I'm the only black professor in this whole damn school, Snape replied, strolling into the room. Now I gotta babysit y'all while you play social justice warriors. Hermione's hand shot up immediately. Professor Snape, with respect, this committee is about creating meaningful change. Girl, the only meaningful change gonna happen is y'all wasting my time for the next month, Snape interrupted, dropping into a chair and pulling out what appeared to be a flask. But go ahead, share them pronouns. I got nowhere else to be. Dumbledore cleared his throat awkwardly. Perhaps we should start with introductions? I'm Albus Dumbledore, he Tim, and I'm here to facilitate this process as an ally. The way he said allies made it sound like he was asking a question. Hermione Granger, she'd her, representing feminist perspectives and intersectional analysis, Hermione announced proudly. Harry Potter, they them, I guess I'm here for trans students, Harry mumbled. Rahmed Al-Weasley, he's him, representing the Islamic community at Hogwarts, Rahmed declared with unnecessary gravitas. Luna Lovegood, she'd her, I'm here because the Naggles told me I should be, Luna said dreamily. Everyone turned to look at Draco, who was glaring at the ceiling. Draco Malfoy. Male. I'm here because apparently someone decided I need to check my privilege or whatever. What are your pronouns, Mr. Malfoy? Hermione asked pointedly. My pronouns are Fucklorth, Draco replied. That's not a real pronoun set. Then use he, him, I don't care. This is stupid. Snape took a swig from his flask. Aight, you're done with the pronoun circle jerk? Can we move on to pretending this committee gonna change anything? Dumbledore shuffled his papers nervously. Perhaps we should discuss our goals for the committee? What changes would we like to see at Hogwarts? Hermione's hand shot up so fast she nearly fell out of her chair. First, we need to address the gender binary in dormitory assignments. Students should be able to choose their housing based on their gender identity, not their assigned sex at birth. So you want boys and girls sharing dormitories? Draco asked with a smirk. I want students in dormitories that match their gender identity. What if someone's gender identity changes daily? Then we accommodate that. So we're gonna rebuild the entire castle every time someone has a gender crisis. It's not a crisis, it's personal growth. It's a fucking nightmare for whoever has to manage room assignments, Snape interjected. You'll think Professor McGonagall got time to be moving beds around every other day. Professor Snape, language. Dumbledore protested weakly. My bad, Headmaster. You'll think Professor McGonagall got time to be moving beds around every other dang day. Harry raised their hand tentatively. Maybe we could start with something smaller? Light? I don't know, gender-neutral bathrooms. Excellent suggestion. Dumbledore said, looking relieved to have something concrete to discuss. Gender-neutral facilities. Very progressive. Wait, said Draco, are we talking about bathrooms where everyone goes together? Yes, said Hermione firmly. Absolutely not, said Draco equally firmly. Why not? Luna asked with genuine curiosity. Because I don't want to piss next to Crabbe and Goyle, let alone random girls. That's incredibly transphobic. Hermione declared. How is not wanting to share a toilet transphobic? Because you're excluding people based on their gender identity. I'm excluding people based on not wanting to hear them shit. Language, Mr. Malfoy. Dumbledore squeaked. Oh, so when he swears it's a problem, but when Snape does it, it's fine. Draco demanded. That's different, Dumbledore said weakly. How is it different? Because, well, Professor Snape is, that is to say, because I'm black. Snape asked with dangerous quiet. Now? No, of course not. I would never. Sounds like you saying I can't be held to the same standards as these kids because of my race, Snape continued. That's not what I meant at all. Then what did you mean? Dumbledore opened and closed his mouth like a fish, clearly realizing he'd walked into a trap. Rama chose this moment to interject. Perhaps we could discuss the lack of halal options in the Great Hall. Oh, come on. Draco exploded. Why do we have to conform to your stupid religion? Do not call my religion stupid. What's next? Are you going to demand they build a mosque next to the school? What do you know about religion? Your religion is performative bullshit. Gentlemen. Dumbledore shouted, then immediately looked embarrassed by his own volume. Please, let's try to keep this constructive. How is this constructive? Harry asked. We've been here 20 minutes and we've already argued about bathrooms, dormitories, and lunch meat. These are important issues. Hermione insisted. Are they though? Luna asked thoughtfully. I mean, the house elves don't have any of these problems, and they seem happy enough. Everyone stared at her. Luna, Hermione said slowly, the house elves are enslaved. Are they? They seem to enjoy their work. That's because they've been conditioned to accept their oppression. Have you asked them? Well, no, but... Maybe we should ask them what they think about diversity and inclusion, Luna suggested. We are not surveying the house elves about their opinions on social justice. Hermione snapped. Why not? Draco asked. If we're representing everyone, shouldn't we include the actual servants? They're not servants, they're enslaved beings. Same difference. It is not the same difference. Snape took another drink from his flask. You know what? I'm about to peace out. You can sit here arguing about elf rights and bathroom politics. I got potions to brew. Professor Snape, you can't leave. Dumbledore protested. Faculty supervision is required." "Then supervise this," Snape said, standing up and heading for the door. "You'll need Jesus." "For therapy." "Or both." "Professor Snape, that's incredibly inappropriate." Hermione called after him. "So is this whole damn meeting," Snape replied without turning around. "Holler at me when you're ready to talk about something that actually matters." He left, slamming the door behind him. The room fell silent for a moment. "Well," Dumbledore said eventually, "that was productive." "How was that productive?" Harry asked. "We've identified some areas of disagreement." "We identified that this committee is a joke," Draco said flatly. "It's not a joke." Hermione protested. "We just need to establish some ground rules, Anne." "Hermione," Harry interrupted gently, "what exactly are we trying to accomplish here?" "We are trying to make Hogwarts more inclusive." "To who?" "To everyone." "But everyone wants different things," Luna pointed out. "Harry wants gender-neutral bathrooms, Rahmed wants halal food, Draco wants to be left alone, and I want the faculty to stop pretending the Thestrals don't exist. We can address all of those issues." "Can we, though?" Harry asked. "Because it seems like every solution we come up with creates a new problem for someone else. That's exactly the kind of thinking that perpetuates systemic oppression," Hermione declared. "Or it's just reality," Draco muttered. "Reality is what we make it." "No, reality is what actually happens when you try to implement your ideas in the real world. The real world is flawed." "Yeah, well, it's the only world we've got." Dumbledore looked around the room at the arguing students and seemed to age about 10 years in as many seconds. "Perhaps," he said quietly, "we should schedule another meeting to continue this discussion." "When?" Hermione asked eagerly. "How about his next Thursday?" "Same time?" "Sure." "Yes." "Next Thursday at 7. As they filed out of the classroom, Harry caught up with Draco in the hallway. "That was a disaster," Harry said. "Yeah, no shit," Draco replied. "You know what the worst part is." "What?" "We have to do it again next week." "Maybe it'll be better." Draco gave Harry a look of pure disbelief. "Potter, I know you're optimistic, but you're not stupid. That meeting is gonna be the exact same clusterfuck, except longer." Harry sighed. "Yeah, you're probably right." "Of course I'm right." "Want to know why?" "Why?" "Because Hermione's gonna spend the next week preparing a 40-page presentation on microaggressions, Rahmed's gonna research Islamic educational law, and Luna's gonna bring actual house elves to the meeting." Harry paused. "Do you think Luna would actually bring house elves?" "Potter, this is Luna we're talking about. She once brought a live bowtruckle to arithmancy because she thought it would help with the calculations." "Fair point. The only question is whether Snape's gonna show up drunk or not show up at all." "He had a flask." "He always has a flask." "That doesn't mean anything." They walked in comfortable silence for a moment before Harry spoke again. "Draco." "Geth? Do you think this committee is actually going to accomplish anything?" Draco stopped walking and turned to look at Harry with an expression of genuine sympathy. "Potter," he said gently, "this committee is going to meet every Thursday for the rest of the school year, argue about the same 5 topics in circles, accomplish absolutely nothing, and then Dumbledore's gonna put out a press release about how committed Hogwarts is to diversity and inclusion. That's depressing. That's bureaucracy." Harry sighed again. "I hate bureaucracy. Welcome to the real world, Potter. It's all bureaucracy from here on out." As they reached the point where they had to split off to their respective common rooms, Draco paused. "Hey, Potter." "Yes?" "For what it's worth, the gender-neutral bathroom thing isn't a terrible idea. I just don't want to be forced to use them." "Thanks, Draco. That's surprisingly reasonable of you. Don't get used to it. Next week I'm probably gonna argue that we should bring back house elf fighting rings or something equally horrible." "Why?" Because if this committee's gonna be a joke, it might as well be an entertaining joke. And with that, Draco headed off toward the dungeons, leaving Harry to contemplate the horrifying possibility that the next meeting might somehow be even worse than the first one. They were right, of course. It was